My name is Julian Kyula. I'm the co-founder and CEO of MoDe, which is short for mobile decisioning. Started about 4 years ago. My role at the moment is at CEO level is to, and also at founder level, is just to basically put the vision and drive the business towards that vision, which when we started the business, one of the needs we saw there was globally was that there is actually a world out there for what we've coined up as a word called nano finance. And our business is basically driving nano finance in nanoseconds. So if people are in need of very little small amounts of credit through their mobile phone, we found ways to be able to advance in very small loans. Could be 20 US cents in some certain countries, could even be $20 in other countries, or 20 pounds, 5 pounds. So, and that vision for us is to literally bring the business to over 500 million subscribers by the end of 2016. Yes, so it's been a unique environment, especially the fact that it started in Africa and then came out to the world. Most times it's the other way around, where technology or other things come into Africa, but with this we've actually exported knowledge now to the rest of the world with what we were able to do at MoDe. In the 80s, it took about 15 years for 50 million people to be able to have computers. It took 38 years for 50 million people to get radios, and then it took about, I think, 7 years for 50 million people to have Google accounts, and 2 years for 50 million people to be on Facebook. The world's just changing so rapidly, and the evolution is no longer a 20-year cycle. It's now an annual cycle, and whoever's not innovating is just going to die. And so I'm very convinced, as we look at our DNA as a business, we've got to be on the edge of change. Change is the one constant you have in life, and so we've fully understood that, and to be able to adapt to change as quickly as possible, because I think those adapters to immediate change are the ones that are going to survive in the very fast evolution of what's happening. Our ability to find like-minded people, who for us most times is young people. The older we grow, the harder it is for us to actually adapt to change so quickly. So sometimes some of the very fresh students are our best adapters, because they come in without necessarily having any mindset about how some things should work, and actually are very happy to adapt to change. So that's been an exciting journey for us. We've learned how to adapt into that change very quickly. Sometimes it's a great joy, and the same aspect becomes absolutely draining. It's just the amount of time we have to put in. Different geographies, different time zones means that when it's 8 a.m. in Kenya, it's 6 p.m. somewhere else that you need to be getting things done, or that you had deadlines for. It's 4 a.m. somewhere else that you've got other deadlines for. So working across major time zones with everyone having very key deliverables and very key things that you need to look into, while still dealing in a sense with startup dilemmas is a challenge. But that's the same thing that has given us so much joy. Is you're not working a job. You've literally got an amazing reason to just get up every day and deliver, because you're innovating, you're creating. And I don't think anyone could despise creating. It's an amazing thing to create, because you're experimenting, people asking you to do things that have never been done before. And it's just amazing to see that something coming out of Africa can have grown to that dimension. It also goes to show just how smart the people there are, given the exposure that they're now getting and learning from one another. They've definitely become leaders in the mobile commerce world. The opportunities for students right now that are in school, and if I was to go back into that world, I would actually say to everybody, don't wait for 10 or 15 years after you finish school to start that dream. It's because it's become such a fast-growing world, it means that you could actually try out very many things in a very short time and get to understand global adaptability very fast. It's different from when very few people had computers. Now everybody, phones being sold in Africa now, smartphones, and it's growing. It's the same in India. There's a very fast world that's leapfrogging technology. So the global patterns around checking how fast something can adapt has become a lot easier now. And you could actually be sitting in London and find out how people in Africa like some of the products that you're pushing, or you could find out what's going on in the fashion world in Italy by just doing something online. You don't have to physically be there anymore. You just have to be sitting with a computer somewhere and be able to see if the world can adapt to some of the things you want to do. And there's enough advice out there. So I'd say go for it. Don't stop at nothing. Don't let money stop you. And I keep telling people, never think money is actually what's going to boost your idea. Absolutely not. I think creativity comes before innovation, and so if you can be creative, then you will innovate, and when you innovate, money will find you. People will come looking for you. My first job was waiting tables, and I was coming from a pretty okay family in Africa. But when I went to the US to be a student, the first job I got was actually waiting tables. I'd never had such an experience in my life. It was actually absolutely amazing. It was humbling in the beginning, but just became absolutely amazing. It was actually one of the best jobs I ever did, because then I understood countenance, I understood people's moods. I was able to find very irate people on a table and figure out a way to cool them down while I just understood. It helped me understand. I'm not sure anyone's ever figured this out, but it just gave me a better understanding of the human race. and it taught me a lot, because now as a leader, I'm not naive to the needs of the person that sweeps as much as I'm conscious about the needs of the CFO. I'm very alert about everybody's desire to do good work, and that we're all a team. And it helped me understand that everyone's important. So I'd say to anyone who's ever starting something, don't ever despise humble beginnings. I think everything in life is just an amazing lesson that you have to figure out, what's this lesson here to teach me? And after that, make a decision about how you want to apply it in life. Life is about relationships. I believe that one relationship after the other, going to school, meeting different kind of people, starting to work, one person meets another, and that's how my life literally progressed until I got to a place where I then worked for this company. Before I came back to Africa, I worked for a company where I had a very amazing mentor who was our CEO, and he totally just believed in me. I don't know why. I was just a member of staff, but he saw something in me, and that was a big bet. And I think things he was able to infuse in me about just being very resilient and just being able to come back. And just as I've met different people, I met the founder of a company before that's a very large company. The story about him is that he failed 6 times, and every time people still believed in him to get back up. And I talk to people a lot about failure, and I keep telling people, you cannot have zero resilience. You've got to be able to bounce back. And those are some of the things that I was able to learn from my former CEO, just by watching his life and the things he had done. So you've got to be the biggest believer of your vision. I think the one thing I would encourage students to look at is, don't ever think of your immediate community as the only place you could build for. Think 7 billion people. I always think if you shoot for the stars, you could easily land on the moon, right? And so I find that innovators, and most of us as entrepreneurs, can be very myopic. It's okay, it starts that way, but if you actually intend to invent for 7 billion people, then chances are very high that you will actually find the skill you're looking for in the markets that you eventually get into. The world has become a village. We're all talking. And as a result, innovate for that village. Don't just innovate for your household. And that's something I'm learning every day, and saying, expand your horizon. Because there's people out there, there's people taking this video, They don't know how much market they have in Africa if people could actually know that their product exists. So build for the world, and then you will easily find that the world is very ready to receive your product.